Welcome to Pluto in Aquarius from November 19th of 2024 until 2044. So this is a 20-year transit. We really need to understand this fully because it requires a lot of awareness, a lot of understanding, a lot of knowledge. And I'm here to bring you as much as we can know in advance about this topic. So, because Pluto, the planet Pluto, moves into the sign of Aquarius, I'm going to explain to you what Pluto means, what Aquarius means, and its ruler, Uranus, because that's the kind of vibe, the energy we're playing with here. And also, I'm going to talk to you about slightly what Pluto has been doing for the last couple of decades, so we can understand how Pluto kind of moves generationally, as well as briefly looking into the opposition side of Aquarius, because when Pluto moves into Aquarius, this affects the Leo energy as well. And so we will be confronted with Leo energies because astrology really works in an axis, a line. So when you have Aquarius, the 11th sign, on the opposite, you have the 5th sign, Leo. So it's important to look at that. And obviously, Pluto Aquarius is going to affect everyone who has placements in Aquarius, but also in Leo, and also in Scorpio, and also in Taurus. These are fixed signs. And so these will be squaring Pluto Aquarius, and therefore will get a nudge, a push, a heaviness of Pluto affecting their lives. And since Pluto is permanent changes, deep removals, and confrontational revelations, it is a lot that we are moving through the coming 20 years. And indeed, it will be life-changing. The reason why I also make this video is that I want you to understand that you have control, that this is about strength, this is about perseverance, this is about transmuting energies. So we are embarking on a whole new timeline with Pluto in Aquarius, and there's a lot that is in our own hands. And you know, with this video, I hope you understand what that is, what we need to focus on, what we do not want to lose our attention on, what has to be high on our checklist. Like, we really need to be aware of certain themes and topics that Pluto Aquarius is going to encapsulate, is going to, you know, excavate and bring out all the nasty, all the dirty, all the difficult, trauma, fears, and manipulations and abuse about certain topics related to the Aquarian energy. We need to stay very mindful of certain subjects, because if we don't, then this time is going to bring us permanent changes that we cannot go back from. And I think humanity, as that is an Aquarius, you know, topic, it rules humanity, it rules the groups, the masses, the people. We want to make sure that after a 20-year transit of Pluto here, that there is humanity left, because we are kind of in a war between artificial and nature. And that's really going to be confronted together all through these 20 years. So there is a high ethical question. And we need to have full knowledge, full information, so that the power is on our side. And so that we navigate this very carefully, so that we make sure that it's a breakthrough, that it's a liberation, that it's, you know, high expressions of Pluto and Aquarius. So let's start by taking these topics apart, by looking at the individual aspects like Pluto Aquarius, so that then we can bring them together and know what we're working with for the coming 20 years. Let's look at the main character, Pluto, first. So Pluto was discovered around the discovery of the atomic bomb, and this is why we speak of permanent changes. The atomic bomb brought the end of all things, and radiation and destruction, and revealed to us what humanity is capable of. And so also the consequences of certain decisions that can be far-reaching. And so Pluto is that kind of energy, and it goes really deep. It is, about the dark, the hidden. It's about the underworld, about the secrets, the deep. And so Pluto works like a excavation machine and digs out to reveal what is really going on in the depth, and where in our subconscious field there are deep fears, things we're scared of, personal and collective trauma and pain, and the triggers of the trauma, and lower vibrations of shame that come from abuse and manipulation and control. So the process of Pluto is to purge these negative emotions out, to detox yourself from toxicity, and to eliminate what no longer serves your soul. So it's about bringing things to light, because Pluto works very much with the dark. So it brings all the stuff from the depth, from the undercurrents up, so that we are able to face them, that we are able to deal with them, that we're able to heal the energies, the emotions. Ultimately, Pluto and the Scorpio energy that it rules is about trans-Form-ation. So the form changes, the frequency changes, and it's about through dealing with it. So you can alchemize the experiences and emotions by transmuting what it was into what you want it to be. And the whole energy play that you're able to do, the alchemization, is for your spiritual advancement, is for your spiritual enhancement. So it's about transcending your experiences to really pull in the highest expression of Pluto, which is empowerment, standing in your power, being very strong. Nothing can pull you apart anymore. You're strong as a tree with roots that go very deep and up into the sky. But you have to clear out the waste, the garbage, the stinkiness through healing, through pattern recognition, which is so what Pluto is so excellent at, or Scorpio is so excellent at. It's about healing the psychology, even the karmic debris, so that you can put an end to a certain phase and let it die off. Let parts of you die off because it no longer serves you anymore, because it's too dense, because it doesn't allow you to move forward. And so when you accept certain things, when you deal with them, when you heal them, when you purge them out, then you embark on a new phase, which is rebirth. And that whole transformation journey, the process of Pluto, is what we're dealing with here, so that we can rise from the ashes like a phoenix, right? We can start over, we can start new. And there is a part of Pluto Aquarius that promises this as well, because Aquarius energy is about the new, about innovation, about fast forward future movements. Aquarius is about advancement. Because its ruler is Uranus, it's generally considered technological advancement, but also conscious advancement. So awakenings, breaking through, breaking out of limiting perspectives, and moving on up to a higher perspective where we understand the quantum vision. Both Aquarius and Uranus is about. The quantum vision is that everything is energy and everything is connected. Everything is interconnected. Everything is interrelated. And this is where the Aquarius true meaning is born, I believe. And that is that the interconnectedness that quantum shows, that the Uranian energy shows. Aquarius is about humanity, about humane approaches. It's about community, groups, your soul tribe. Therefore, it's about group effects, and we really need to keep the bigger picture in our mind. Aquarius is an air sign, so it's very much about information, intelligence, intellect, knowledge, concepts, ideas, insights, information, and very much about logic. Being as objective as you can, so looking at things from both sides. Air signs are about communication, and they're generally very social, and it's about being together in some way or form. Air obviously is also literally the air in the sky, so it's about the breath we take. It's about our atmosphere, and so when Pluto is in Aquarius, we are also confronted with toxicity and pollution in the air, but also perhaps, our lungs and the organs we use where breath is inhaled and moved through and processed. So anything related to the sky, and also radiation because of the Plutonic and Uranian aspect that Aquarius brings. So think of technology and air together. So perhaps chemtrails, the effects of that. Our thoughts and concepts are going to radically change. Our language might even change over the coming 20 years very rapidly, because air is a fast energy, and so is, Uranian and Aquarius energy. So think of shifting paradigms, shifting views, changing of stories, such as stories about history. We're going to be confronted with false narratives coming from the Pluto energy, and even the meaning of mythologies, what they entail, what it's really about. And we might even come to an awareness of how important stories are, how the frequency of information works, such as, the repetition of words or stories, how they impact the subconscious, as that is what Pluto governs. With Pluto being in an air sign, we're also going to discover the power of words and the frequency that certain words have, or what they truly mean. So we're really going to look behind the communication styles, and all that comes with it. Being so logical and kind of neurologically driven, very brain and mind focused. We're going to use a lot of our prefrontal cortex, a lot of rationality, right? Logic, the thinking brain. And it also is about our nervous system. So the air aspect is very important to understand. Aquarius is also a fixed sign. Now, what does that mean? Fixed means that there is an inflexibility to Aquarius. There is a holding on to what is kind of vibes that will not go well with the Pluto energy. Fixed signs tend to come with big crises, big calls for change. And as I said, that holding on aspect, that being attached, that will have to go. That will be one of the things that Pluto will attack and will demand us to let go. Fixed signs are also quite clear and direct and very matter of fact, which goes hand in hand with the air, logical, rational energy. So more about that Aquarius energy, now that we know it's an air sign, it's a fixed sign. Aquarius is a rebel. It's about revolution. It's about breaking free, thinking free. It's about an egalitarian system, so where there is no hierarchy, no one in charge. It's the power to the people kind of vibes. Aquarian energy is eager to go against the grain, to oppose basically anything. So always look at the other side. And this is also how you receive a higher perspective on things, by always looking at the marginal, the different aspect that is easily forgotten. And so Aquarius is very much about the unique, about the genuine. It's about your authentic self, your authentic frequency, what you truly are in your heart, in your soul. This is a time to really bring that out. And Pluto will quite destroy anyone or any experience that is not genuine, that is not authentic. I feel personally Pluto will be very destructive, very forceful on anything that isn't genuine or authentic in your own life, especially if you have, again, anything in Aquarius, Scorpio, Leo, or Taurus. So the genuinity requires you to finesse your frequency, to make sure that to be genuine, you are real and not a copy. So be honest, as this is what will really advance the collective evolution. Is it going to be humanity at its best, or is it going to be humanity at its worst? Because Pluto is going to bring up the hidden agendas and the hidden motivations and the true control and power of control of information will be revealed in the coming 20 years, and we will see the real dark side of technology, and we will come to see that data is what makes you powerful. The control of information is going to be a big agenda thing. Because Aquarius is kind of emotionless and aloof and more logical, right? It could be dangerous to be out of touch with your emotions, because, or should I say, maybe actually it is advantageous to sometimes be logical, because I also came to the notion recently that emotions are like water, right? They flow and they change shape, and they're important to be felt. But you cannot build on water. That is not stable. That is not the right fundament. There's something to say about logic and rationality, to be above the emotions and to think it through, to look at the pros and the cons. And maybe actually the thinking brain is what will keep us alive and what will continue a form of humanity, because we need to have a strong ethical question. Like I said, a lot will be about technology and artificialness and DNA and everything that I will try to hint at. Just because you can, just because you have the technological advancement and that you can live in a fully digitalized, technologicalized meta universe, is that still what you would want? You know, just because you can, is it good? Does it feel good? These things we need to reconsider these coming 20 years. We need to find out when enough is enough, when to say no, where is the limit. And so maybe that thinking brain is actually advantageous, so that we do not lose track of what we want in the long run. The Pluto in Aquarius gives us a huge bullshit filter, an X-ray vision that's going to be essential moving forward. Because as a fellow astrologer said, that, you know, this is a time when shit hits the fan. And shit is a representation of Pluto, and fan is air, which is an Aquarius sign. So be careful of the decisions you're making, because we need to keep in mind the long-term effects of any decision we're making, as Pluto Aquarius is a permanent change kind of energy, right? A change that we cannot go back from. A fully digitalized world is not something you can come back from. You know, if you are living among hybrids and, you know, chipped people and Neuralink and all of that, and half of the population somehow living in space centers, in Mars or whatever, how are you going to come back from that? It's really about how the organic, the natural is being technologized, how technology, the artificial, can take over the natural. And this is something we really want to be careful about. But my theory over the last 2 years that Pluto has been dipping into Aquarius and then going back into Capricorn, has clearly been that what we're going to see with Pluto Aquarius for, you know, the coming years, is that a lot has already taken place. Most people think that Pluto Aquarius is going to be, you know, a fully AI world, computer generalized, you know, everything connected to computers and living in that kind of world, hyper digitalized, right? And we already live in that, because without a phone, you have no access to most things, like your bank, or even in most countries they have, you know, digital ID. And so basically without a phone you cannot even live in modern world. So we're already hyper digitalized, and I think what we're going to see is that so much has already been taking place in the dark, in the secret, behind the scene, that most of us are not aware of. And I'm going to name you a couple of technologies that are well underway that I'm not sure everybody's familiar with. I'm going to list a few so that you have, you know, something to ponder about, to think about, to maybe research, while there is, you know, slightly more freedom to advance your knowledge, as that is Pluto Aquarius. So we're going to find out the deep, dark, abusive, manipulative aspects, but also technological advancements regarding these topics. One of them is quantum computing, massive quantum computers that have so much data, which probably fuels the AI technology. Because what people need to remember is that AI is based on data, okay? It's humongous amount of data. Remember how I said Pluto Aquarius is going to be power is data, data is power? Yeah, they use massive quantum computers to connect gazillion of data to come with a conclusion or a program, you know, to whatever they want to do. So AI is based on data. Somebody has to write that program, okay? So it's not, they always tell us that they are thinking on themselves or somehow evolving on their own. But that is not really the case. Somebody's writing these programs. So that's important to understand, because then who is writing them and why, okay? Because it's not a living organism. So somebody has to give the commands and direct. The only thing that seems to be like they are thinking on their own and advancing is because the program is written to learn. It is written. It doesn't learn on its own. It's written that it learns. So, you know, just, well, of course we are maybe in the baby steps of AI, but it brings back to the writer or the programmer stuff like, the best example is medical, right? And with Pluto Aquarius, we're probably not going to see a doctor anymore, and you know, everything will be hyper digitalized, right? So we'll have camera scans that look at us, or you know, somehow with that, all that AI data can track what is wrong with us, and you know, come up with the best treatments, basically, where maybe you also don't see a doctor because, you know, most operations will be performed by robots or something. And maybe that's not even necessary. Maybe they come up with a form of medicine for everything, and all you need to take is a couple of pills or something. What is very difficult for a doctor to do, right, is to memorize all the information. So, and also, unfortunately, we have lived in a very narrow-minded world, which is also going to change. We're going to expand our mind a lot. And so if a doctor is skilled in like kidney diseases, it doesn't really know a lot about the rest of the body, which is obviously very limiting. That's not even how the body works. Everything is connected, interconnected, interrelated, right? Everything affects one another, as the quantum perspective of Aquarius tells us so clearly. So the advantage of AI or quantum computers is that they have a lot of data that they can use that normal people are not able to memorize all that information and to connect between information. And so that's why, you know, AI or quantum computers can come up with a very quick solution in like nanoseconds probably, because the data and the program is so well equipped that it connects several things. So what AI can do, what humans find very difficult, is to look at the blood results and compare it with heart rate, and to compare it with all the other results from the other organs. It can look at your iris, it can look at your skin through the camera, and it can pick up on so many details and cross-referencing information, again, that humans, well, near to impossible, right? So it's basically AI works on massive amounts of books, so to speak, and can easily find the result. But it is someone who writes these connections. And I think the only part about its being self-thinking is that it can, because of the cross-referencing in the programming, in the data, it can say stuff like, but what about this piece of information? So like it can detect something that wasn't programmed. I know it sounds a little complex, but Aquarius is about many things operating together. It is about the complexity of life. And so it can see, for instance, just an example, it can see a bruise on the arm, and AI will say, shall I also look at the bruise on the arm to find the correct diagnosis? You know, something like that. So it's not that AI just sits there and thinks like, oh, I'm just thinking on my own and coming up with, no, it's a computer. Somebody writes the program. Somebody writes it to do what it needs to do. And this is important because, again, who's in charge of that? Who's in power of that? The adagio, the paradigm, may also be like, there are no leaders anymore. There's nobody on top. It's not a top-down authority anymore, because that's very Aquarian. They might tell us that, like everybody is equal and all of that. But living in a hyper-digitalized world, the power is in that, in the digital, in those who guide it, to control it. So there is always a form of control, and you need to be aware of it. Be aware of it so that you can change it while you can, right? While it's not too late. But other things are like nanobots, Faragots, and these are like chip kind of creatures. I know it's very far out, but my theory is that we have particles in us, semi-robotic organisms that, and this could even be like laboratorized bacteria and viruses, which is obviously what happened these last 4 years. We have particles in us that are not fully organic already. This is not future stuff. This is actually what is current. But we're not aware of it. It's a very small piece of the population that is kind of aware of this. And I think in the coming years we'll find out how we have been played, how, you know, the digital stuff, the manipulation of genes, of DNA, of you know, other stuff has already been going on. You know, there's CRISPR, so that's a new technology of genetic modulation, changing the genome, and it has been, because of the technological advancement, very easy to change all of that. And so we come into a time where, again, like I said, the ethics, like, okay, just because you can, is this wise? Is this what we want? Do we want people to play with our genes, with our DNA? And what will be the consequences of this? We need to ASAP come into awareness of these things. Now, I say these topics because it's up to you if you want to research and like investigate, because that's the Pluto vibe, okay? It's time that we get to know what's really going on, and either you know it now or you're going to find out 10 years later and you're going to be stuck in a certain system. A big topic that's going on for a while is also longevity, stretching life, this obsessiveness with youth and staying young, right? And that's also related because Leo is at the opposite side of Aquarius. Remember, it's an axis of energy. And so Pluto Aquarius is always going to shine a light into the darkness of Leo energy as well. So, and that's where the obsession with youth comes from. So the whole longevity vibe topic is going to be high, and we're going to see a lot of people be really interested in that, and like going beyond accepting maybe even immoral things to stay young and to grow old staying young. And so we'll see a huge technological advancement about this as well. And we'll come to find out perhaps the nefarious techniques that they have been using over the years, which are probably pretty disgusting if you find them out. There is the graphene that's been used, and that's, see, a lot of these topics are like already the problem, the ethical problem, that it's a mix between technology and organic. And graphene is one of those things where they can just, it's a substance where you can write with. But we'll also even find out some basic technologies, such as the true meaning of water and how water is memory, how it can hold information, how you can code water with frequencies or literal information, and the effects of that. That's an organic technology, okay? That, you know, stuff like that. We need to know much more to understand this whole reality in your own life. Of course, a modern thing, ChatGPT. In 20 years, Aquarius, Pluto Aquarius, that will be nothing. We'll laugh about ChatGPT because that's like, yeah, that's a joke, right? But it's an interesting way how AI has now been introduced to the masses in that sense. And of course, Neuralink, you know, using chips and neuroscience, the brain, you know, how some people want to have a Google in the mind, and basically, I guess, to compete or something with AI. Of course, we're going to see a lot of crypto and digital currency. That's high on the agenda. We're going to see a huge innovation in space technology. You know, that's because Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, and so here comes the whole space topic, cosmos, as well as aliens, outer space, even astrology. So astrology is going to boom in Pluto Aquarius time. I think it's going to be so standard, like everybody will know astrology. If you don't know it, you know, it's going to be very valuable as well. We're going to find how it works, more truth about astrology, and also that it becomes more common. But other parts of the space technology is not only just moving to Mars or the moon, but it's also about very technical stuff like wormholes in space, traveling through light years probably. The topic of antimatter or anti-gravity is going to come up a lot. Maybe even time travel, as we have already been hearing a lot about astral travel. This is also related to CERN, who's looking for the God particle. Some are interested about hacking the code of God, the language of God, which by the way is astrology. And so of course the whole transhuman agenda, and that's related to the Neuralink, how, you know, technology, the artificial is going to be introduced into the organic form, into human bodies. But as I said, that has actually already been going on for a long time. Also, we are exposed to radiation since a couple of years massively. And so we're going to find out the results on the physical form. And the whole subject of DNA, the control of DNA, coding of DNA. Also the whole epigenetics is going to be understood better, how our environment affects the DNA, how anything can affect the DNA, and what the DNA is about, what is encoded in the DNA. And we're going to have actually more more DNA codes being unboxed. So we're going to get access to parts of our DNA that we haven't accessed before. That's my own theory. I feel that this is also a huge opportunity for quantum leaps. So huge, frequency and vibrational upgrades, huge advancements in timelines, and therefore the experiences in your life. Because Uranus and Aquarius are very much about the magical, supernatural, genius, scientific kind of energy, this is where we might also move into higher powers, magical superpowers maybe. I feel that we are able to access some of the DNA that actually really hold ancient human powers that through this whole artificial versus organic, we can really tap into those powers, which will be really needed in the coming time. What are those kind of powers? Well, think of very heightened telepathy or telekinesis, moving objects with the mind. Or like receiving higher information, cosmic information, which is very Uranian Aquarius. Our ability to have these advanced powers or advanced thinking, advanced information, advanced insights is going to catapult us forward. Exponential leaps are also part of the potential. But because Uranus rules Aquarius, there is also the Uranian energy of disruptions, destabilization, of breakdowns, so we can break through. This is about surprises, shocks, revolutions, revolts. Liberation is high on the agenda, personally and collectively. But even think of scandals. We will come into connection with the supernatural, the extraordinary, and the ascended cosmic truth. The energy will be very quick with Aquarius because that is how Uranus moves. It is electrical, it is sparkling, it is fast, forward, innovative. It's about analysis, intelligence, the bigger picture, the higher perspective hopefully gives us a lot of liberation, because at the end of the day, it is about freedom. Control versus freedom. That's going to be a 20-year story. And unfortunately, because it's about frequencies and vibrations, we can encounter very different ways of warfare. This is going to be frequency wars, very different than what we're used to. We might be already in it, and very much frequency manipulations. So the manipulation of frequency is something that we are going to come into awareness, because we're going to understand frequencies and vibrations better. Everything, every object has a frequency, a sonic vibration, even a sound, you could say. And all these technologies, these organic technologies, is stuff that we're going to come into knowledge of, such as a crystal, right? They hold huge frequency powers. Every crystal has its own vibration. Every aromatherapy scent, so like lavender, Lavandula angustifolia, which is the botanical name, has a huge frequency. Rose damascenus from Sparta, Turkey, has a very high, the highest frequency of a botanical oil, aromatherapy oil in the world, discovered by Japanese scientists. When we're talking crystals, of course, we're talking Nikola Tesla, which is a very Aquarian energy. He was all about free energy. He was all about the information of crystals, the magic of 369. We are going to find out so much that has been hidden from us. And hopefully there will be a lot more liberation, a lot more freedom, a lot more access to things that has been blocked until now. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me. Aquarius is a huge new energy. New. Everything is new. We are starting over. We are leveling up. We are experiencing very higher expressions. And those who cannot follow with a higher perspective will have a huge difficulty these coming 20 years. And also I think it will be shocking for some people what has really been going on. And the shocking is quite serious, I'd say, because of the Leo-Aquarius axis. So when we look at Aquarius and we look at the opposite side, Leo, the shocks can even come through heart issues, heart failures, heart attacks because of the oppositional energy. But because of the Leo, it can also be, you know, the demolition of leadership, crisis about leaders, those who probably want to hold on and be attached to an old system will have a very difficult time. And even, you know, famous people that Leo governs, that is gone in the coming 20 years. We will not adore famous people anymore. We will see what it is, because it's really about the individual in the group, and everybody's unique and everybody's interesting and everybody is quirky, and it's time to rise up in who you truly are, to be courageous in your authentic expression. And these famous people generally are, you know, made to look a certain way, made to talk a certain way, made to be creative in a certain way. So that is gonna go because Aquarius is going to demand your personal, unique, genuine energy, right? So it's about being quirky, weird. It's about embracing all your colors and to walk in your own shoes with bravery. The opposition of Leo, I understood, is important because of the last 16 years that we've had Pluto in Capricorn since 2008 until 2024, right? 16 years of Pluto Capricorn. We've experienced a lot of issues with the opposite sign, the opposite energy, and that is the crab energy. It started in 2008 with a huge housing crisis. And these are very crab topics. Also, because of the whole corona issue, we had lockdowns, being locked in our own houses, which is a crab topic. So I understand now, definitely more than ever, that these energies of one sign is never one sign. There is always the opposite perspective. And somewhere along that axis of two signs is where your expression is at. So when we've been talking Pluto Capricorn for the last 16 years, a lot has been affected on the opposite side in the crab. So if we're going to talk Pluto Aquarius the coming 20 years until 2044, we are also obviously then are going to experience themes in the Leo energy. And that's why I said issues with the heart, not being able to process all these mega fast, wild changes that we're going to encounter with Pluto and Aquarius. And so much truth is going to be revealed, unveiled, and it's going to be very tough for people who have held on to their form of truth, of what they wanted to believe. And so being confronted with brutal, raw truths that Pluto and Aquarius is going to bring out, is going to be devastating for some people. And their reality is going to collapse, and therefore maybe even their life might be collapsing. We should be very careful about our heart health. And as I said, Leo themes of children, of leaders, of royals, of famous people, and creative expressions, the heart, sports are topics that we might, the young, the youth, we might encounter problems with. I also feel with Aquarius that there is always an Atlantis connection, because Atlantis was a civilization that was highly technologically advanced. So is Aquarius, right? It's the same kind of energy, and even the words kind of have a resemblance. But what's so interesting is that when we look back to the material, it is thought that Atlantis took place approximately 12,000 years ago, before the Great Flood. That was the end of Atlantis. And what is so interesting, when the fall of Atlantis occurred, we were living in the Leo age, right? Some say currently we live in the Piscean age and we're moving into the Aquarius age. When we go back, because this age, the sign that we're in, changes every approximately 2,100 years, and that is due to the precession of the poles, the North Pole and the South Pole. Another topic that probably Pluto Aquarius is going to bring out into the mass consciousness of how Earth works and the technology of Earth. And so that the poles shift every 26,000 years approximately. And so when you divide 26,000 years with 12 signs of the zodiac wheel in astrology, you get 2,100 years, okay, of each sign. So when we look back to around 10,000 BC, because that's when Atlantis fell, collapsed, was demolished, was devastated, was torn down. Very interestingly, 10,830 years BC is where I got the Leo age. Now, of course, this is totally hypothetical, but this is my personal research that got me to see another Atlantis connection with the Aquarius energy that we're going to be so strongly in for the coming 20 years. And so if Atlantis ended in the age of Leo, which is the opposite side of the axis, right, between Aquarius and Leo, I feel that we are coming into a revision time of those Aquarius of those Atlantean times, and what made it fall, why it's corrupted, is probably something we're working with again 12,000 years later. So we need to, 13,000 years later, we need to really we need to understand the karma of Atlantis to not repeat it, and we need to understand that technology is not holy, that there is more important things, such as human life and the organic life, the natural, the magnificence of earthly life, that this is too precious and too valuable to leave behind, and that technology is wonderful to explore and to use for your advantage, and for the greater good advantage. But we need to always keep in mind the ethical question. Is this good? Is this good for the greater good? Is this good for the long term? And what can be the effects of every choice, every decision we make in the coming 20 years, especially when it regards human life, humanity, especially when it regards the organic, especially when it regards life force, vitality, which is also ruled because of the opposition of Leo and the sun that is ruled by over Leo. We're also talking vitality. We're also talking health related as well. So another thing that we might come up with or understand, how maybe there is an artificial sun with the Leo Aquarius opposition. So basically, we're going to find out a lot of the artificial stuff that's already implemented, unfortunately, in our reality. It's time to understand things. It's time to level up. I recently saw a message, a motto that I would love to share with you. Show me your new vibration, and I will show you miracles. Show me your new, true, genuine vibration. And the divine says, I will show you miracles then. And this is interesting when you know that the star card in tarot is the Aquarius card. And the star card in tarot is all about healing, all about renewal. And just like Aquarius and the 11th house that it rules, it is about hope and wishes. And because Aquarius is about the authentic and about frequency, once you step into your own powerful, authentic, genuine frequency, you tap into the powerful Aquarian reward, which is hopes, wishes coming true. And that is really what we're also working with. This is not all bad, but we're going to see a lot of bad because that is how Pluto moves. But we see the bad and the nasty and the abuse because we can then work through it and change it and renew it and alchemize it so that we change it into a powerful result for all of us. Pluto reminds us to become your magnetic self, to attract all these hopes and wishes, and to stay so powerfully in your own frequency. And it reminds us that pressure makes diamonds. So the real wealth is within yourself. That is the magnetism. On the one hand, Pluto's going to make everything very evident, very clear. Also, because it is about the atom, the atomic level, Pluto is about the minuscule. So technology is going to become very small, very micro. It involves nuclear technology, nanotechnology. But on the other hand, we're going to come into a soul understanding, to start new, to find our soul tribe members. You just need to remember your own responsibility and the ethics. It's an interesting time of advancement, of leaps forward, of interesting technology, but also, as I said, dormant DNA that's really going to open a lot of abilities and a lot of truth. And hopefully all of this is going to result in more healing and true renewal, that we can embark on an age where there is more freedom, where there is more liberation. But we do not need to forget the dark aspects, and that we need to be very clear, very on point, very mindful, right, about our choices and to not fear away from the dark. We need to see it. We need to accept it so that we can transform it. A very interesting time.